Previously on Couture Paiges with Armstrong and Wilson.
It's like, we both just gravitated towards one another. We kind of both had our ideas of, we both wanted to be entrepreneurs. We wanted to have our own business. And I don't know, we just clicked from there. So
to kind of complement these 2,000 ounces, these accessories. And it started with the smallest piece that complemented the pocket square. That's all we could really afford, was to make something like the pocket square.
We have recently learned that the U.S. can no longer travel to Europe. How does that affect you guys?
I don't think it affected us a lot, honestly, because we had sales over in different parts of the country, but it doesn't affect us majorly, because we still was more so dedicated to a lot of things, a lot of cities in the U.S. We did have some online sales that would go over to Europe and different things, but it's not like we're getting products sent in from Europe. We're not, manufacturing anything over there.
Okay.
So we're pretty good. 99% of our product is made here in the U.S.
Okay.
So we're pretty, okay with that. But of course you don't get sales that much from them online, because a lot of places are just shut down right now. So yeah, it's not really affecting us so much.
yeah, we were fortunate because a lot of our manufacturing and things like that were done in the U.S., done in-house. A lot of our fabric was kind of sourced locally. So for us, we were able to kind of keep it moving, even with that. Just like Cliff said, you lose some business in terms of like, business, but outside of that, we were able to kind of keep it moving.
Now, how can you assure the retailers that you guys are selling in that you do have enough product to sell to them?
I think at the end of the day, it's kind of it's tough because, like I said, you got retailers who's pretty much saying we're not buying nothing. We got retailers who just opened their doors up and they have last fall merchandise still on there. They still got turtlenecks from when the COVID first hit. So it's kind of one thing we can just say is that at the end of the day, we can still produce stuff in house. So you don't have to worry about anything crossing borders. You don't have to worry about anything getting sent in from China. Nothing's we can still jump on a sewing machine and create. So at the end of the day, I think that's always been our niche, is that you can rely on us because it's still being made by us.
What was it like being a Black-owned business in July 2019 versus being a Black-owned business into July, August 2020 with COVID and this uprising of another civil rights movement? What is it like last year versus this year?
I think it's weird because I look at the bigger companies, everybody's pro-Black. And I almost wonder how genuine it is. I say that because, you have a lot of these bigger companies who never, you look at their corporate offices and no one looks like us.
They're aesthetic.
Nothing represented us. You go back to 2019, but now, there's a good and a bad. I think there's a lot of opportunity for Black brands because now we're in a place where people feel like they have to show love. You know what I mean? Whereas before it was just kind of like, oh, art, this is who we are. It doesn't matter. So I think though, 2020 and everything that we're going through now, I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think, people are aggressively going out there looking for Black brands, looking for Black stylists, looking for Black writers and things like that, just to show that, we're on board with this movement. Whether it be as genuine or not, I think it's created some opportunity, which is, different from, go back to 2019 and beyond that, because I think for us, even when we first started out, we would do our trade shows. And when we would do our trade shows, oftentimes these retailers would come up to us and they would they would look at the product, they would love it, then they would look at us and they would say, well, how long have you been working for the company? And they would, you know, when we would say like, you know, we own the brand, it was almost like really? You know what I mean? Like, you guys make a product like this. And it never failed. But I think now, people are just like aggressively like looking for these black brands, looking to affiliate themselves with it. Because it's almost like the hot thing. But it's like we've always been here. Like black brands, black talent, like we've always been here. This is nothing new.
Yeah. All right, now we're on to our last question, final question. I'm like kind of sad because this has been like a really good conversation. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been good.
We are living in another huge civil rights movement. And one of the big initiatives that, you know, we just touched on this with our last question is buying black, supporting black owned businesses. Have you guys seen, you know, any of that your way?
Some. I think that one thing that I don't want to say we struggle with, but it can be difficult to get your own to support. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but I think a lot of times like these bigger brands take precedent, you know, because I think sometimes like we have this idea that we can't make quality. And that's unfortunate. And I don't say that to say that all people think like that, or all of us think like that rather, but I mean, I think now, like, again, like with everybody having this conversation about buying black and things of that nature, I think people are more conscious of supporting their own, even myself, you know, it's just like, whereas before I'm like, you know, you go to your normal brands and things that you typically buy, it's just like, okay, I've been buying this for years. But now I think with everything that's going on, I mean, I think people are just aggressively like looking to see if if they can support black brands. And yeah, you know, some of that has trickled down, you know, our way. And people are like, okay, like if I can buy an accessory and I can buy black, you know, why not support Armstrong Wilson? And you know, over the years, I mean, we've had our loyal, you know, following that have always supported us, even prior to this, you know. But you know, I think again, people are just kind of constantly making more of an effort, you know, to support.
Yeah, no, I could definitely agree with that. It's always been. So I would have like inboxes, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll have friends, if that's what you want to call them, friends or so, but you know, your Facebook crew friends. And I'll get inboxes where they'll send me a picture of their outfit that they just got from Neiman's. It could be $600 Gucci shoes. It could be, you know, a suit and everything. You know, but overall their outfit's like $2-3 grand. And then they want a discount from me for a pocket square or tie. You know what I mean? And this is like, you know, so that's always been my little pet peeve now, you know, and it's kind of like, sometimes sometimes I feel like you don't see the value in your own people. You don't see the value in their product, you know, and you think that, you know, first of all, we was talking about when, you know, people got these big checks, stimulus checks and all. The first thing they do is they run out to the mall to go get that piece of Gucci, to go get that piece of Louis, but they would never go and spend the price of Gucci Louis on someone, you know, of their same, you know, race or anything. I would never see that. You know, you have somebody like Off-White Virgil, you know, who's doing that, but that's also because he picked up with Louis or, you know.
The designer for
Louis Vuitton. So you look at, you know, those things, but I feel like we always had a quality, we always have things, but with us, I feel like we never put the trust into each other. You know, I was having a conversation with someone the other day where she said, I try to support a black brand, but they screwed up. I ain't doing it no more. And I said, well, you know, it's funny how we mesh all black brands together. So when one mess up, it screws up everything. But yet, if that one, say, Asian shop mess up your nail, you're gonna look for another Asian shop. You're gonna look for, you know, you're not gonna say that whole Asian race of nail salons I'm done with. I'm gonna go somewhere else, you know. Or if that one brand, you know, didn't come in on time that you ordered that was white owned, you're not saying I'm not dealing with a whole white owned brands anymore because they screwed up. We're the only people I feel like we have a short temper towards ourselves. You know, we have a short line of fuse or patience for ourselves. If one black owned brand company mess it up, it's like we're gonna mess it up on everybody. And you know, and that's what I could never really understand is that we just never have the patience for ourselves. I do have some people who are like, yo, black owned, I'm gonna support, we're gonna buy, we're gonna do it. But it's also when they got the product in their hand, they're like, wow, this is actually on the same level as that Hugo Boss, on the same level as that. And I think that's where our product was standing apart at Nordstrom's. People will buy a Hickey Freeman suit for $1,500, and then they will buy, you know, a pair of shoes for $600. Then they will buy an Armstrong Wilson necktie that was, you know, $100 or a pocket square for $75, $80, because the quality, it went with there. It wasn't, this is a black-owned brand. It was, oh, the quality is good, you know. So I feel like we focus on that and not be afraid of who we are and say this is, you know, black-owned.
I think what I will say, I think where we're at now in the shift, I think that there's more of a sense of brotherhood, sisterhood when it comes to supporting. And I think whereas before, you know, social media has played a big part in this. But I think whereas before, like, you know, when we look at these major media companies, like our voices have rarely been heard. You know what I mean? So I think now there's always been this, like the media, I think, has always created this illusion that, and when we look through the pages of magazines, like all we see are people that don't look like us. So people always, luxury has been always affiliated with other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not us. And the sad thing about it, we've always had luxury. Like, we've always had great product, great brands, you know, great everything. But that story has never been put out there. So we've been almost trained to think that, oh, like we want something nice, we gotta go shop here, or we gotta go shop there. We can't get it from us because we don't see enough of us making quality product. But I think now the shift in that is like with social media, now you're finding brands are like, oh wow, like, that's dope. I didn't even know that was out there. Oh,
brands
wow.
you have never ever found before.
Exactly. Because now people are having those conversations, and now those stories are being told. So now I think black people are just like, you know what, like it's time to make that shift. You know what, like instead of going over here and buying this watch from this brand, there's this dope black watch brand that makes this. I'm going to go here because those stories are being told now. And I think people are like, we have that sense of pride in having our home. So I mean, I think you know, unfortunately, I mean, with the pandemic, you know, there's a lot of, you know, terrible things that have happened. But I also think there's a lot of good coming out of everything that's going on, especially with like, you know, blacks supporting each other. And I, you know, for me, like, I just hope that continues. I hope it's just not a trend.
Yeah, me too.
And then next year, you know, it's back to, all right, let me get my whatever leg, and let's, you know what I mean? Let me forget about the black brand. So I just hope, you know, again, like it's just something that continues, that we just continue to support each other.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you guys so much.
We appreciate you. We appreciate thank you so much
for having this interview with me. I'm gonna just check a few things.
Goes with your pants, man.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm taking.
Coordinate.
Alright, well, thank you guys so much for watching Couture Pages. Hit my friends up, Ontario and Clifton, ArmstrongWilson.com. Hit them up on social media. They're super nice. Say hi to them. Like they're dope. Like they dope AF. Like they just talk about how they got like wasted with people from your show. Like they dope. But once again, thanks for watching Couture Pages. I'll see you guys next time. I'ma just continue taking their stuff. So, bye.